Parents show us their book list, and parents have to buy books for one child totaling $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. If they have 2 and 3 children, that's $10,000. Where is the parent who is being sent home from UTT? Where is the single parent and the parents who were working at Petrotrain? Where are those in Laventille who aren't even getting CPEP work or 10 days work? Far less permanent, decent work. Where are they going to find the wherewithal to buy those books? Where are the workers who are working in the stores and in the malls and in the fast food outlets and so on, who are getting small pay? How are they going to find $10,000 to buy all those books, or $3,000 and so on? And you remember, on the eve of independence, what Dr. Williams said 57 years ago. He said the future of the children is in the children's book bags. That's what he said. Where the parents cannot afford to buy the books, to put in the book bags, to send the children to school. So we say we have to change that. And an MSJ government would ensure that the only things that parents would have to buy would be copybooks and pencils and notebooks, graph books, and sneakers for the children, and uniforms, and perhaps a book bag and a lunch kit. Because all the textbooks in this country ought to be standardized and must last children not for 1 year, but for 5 years. So this racket, where every year there's a new edition, so that the older child in the home can't pass on the book, or the neighbor, the cousin can't pass on the book to the next child coming up. That nonsense has to stop. That nonsense must stop. Because all it is doing is enriching a few, and the majority are suffering. So on this eve of the school term, we are saying that Freedom Day from that pressure must stop, so that all of our children can actually benefit from the opportunities of education. Because Dr. Rowley has turned his back on that statement, which was to be a guide for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, given to us on the eve of independence by his own first political leader, Dr. Eric Williams. The children's book bags don't have all the books because the parents just can't afford to buy. Freedom Day must come, sisters and brothers, because we must get rid of all the old colonial laws. 57 years after independence, we have a Sedition Act, which was a colonial ordinance passed in 1920, following the general strikes that began on the docks in November 1919 and spread to the oil fields, pitch lake, sugar estates, cocoa estates, railway, stores throughout Trinidad and Tobago. And so in 1920, the colonial authorities passed the Sedition Ordinance. And they passed the Summary Offences Ordinance. And they passed an ordinance to ban strikes and so on, to repress workers and the labor movement, and those who are trying to change the status quo and bring about justice and freedom for working people and for Trinidad and Tobago as a whole. That was the colonial government's response to the popular movement of the day. And in 1970, the PNM government strengthened those laws, made them more draconian, during a state of emergency between 1971 and 1972. So we are saying that Freedom Day is coming because an MSJ government would repeal the Sedition Act of Trinidad and Tobago. That's what we will do. Because it has been used to harass and intimidate and stop the mobilization of people in this country. And we will seriously reform, if not repeal, the Summary Offences Act, which bans assemblies, that bans the use of so-called noisy instruments as a whole colonial thing, because the old white people from England used to fray our people drumming, whether it was tassa or whether it was African drums and so on. So they banned noisy instruments. You see, that's an old archaic law, that Summary Offences law, and that too the MSJ would address and deal with, because the relics of colonialism have no place in an independent Trinidad and Tobago. And so we are saying Freedom Day is coming. And we will also move immediately as an MSJ government to legalize marijuana and ensure that our young people who get locked up or put in remand for years for a little too joint and so on, that no longer happens. But in doing so, we will also ensure that the 1% don't then control the marijuana legal business. So you end up in their coffee shop to be able to go and take a legal smoke, or they don't control the medical industry, or we don't end up being the workers on the new plantations that are the new marijuana plantations, because that is what is being set up to take place. So we will ensure that that does not happen, so that the ordinary people who are being involved traditionally in the use recreationally or spiritually will be the ones who would benefit from the economic activities that flow out of that legalization. So that is what we have to do to become a truly independent country. And lastly, we will put power in the hands of people where they work and where they live. And therefore our reform of local government will be very far-reaching, so that community councils and local governments have real resources that are not determined by the Minister of Local Government or the Minister of Finance, but resources which are allocated to regions and communities on the basis of their needs. Every community of a certain size must have early childhood education centers, health center, primary school, secondary school, recreation facilities as a right, not as a favor by minister or whoever controls the corporation, as a right. And resources must then be budgeted in the same way that the THA gets a statutory allocation of a certain percentage of the national budget. Each corporation must get, depending on their size and so on, a statutory allocation, a percentage of the national budget. And not only should the councillors be involved in deciding how that should be used, but the village and community councils and the NGOs in the communities must also be involved in deciding how that money should be used. So that the people on the ground are deciding one day, because the people on the ground know what they want and know how those things can best be addressed and satisfied. And that will come, therefore, Freedom Day is coming to the communities, because unless we build strong communities, we cannot have a strong, independent Trinidad and Tobago. So I've tried to, sisters and brothers, identify the things that are keeping us back. Some of the things, there are many, many more, but this is supposed to be a short address. And we have to see the fireworks and socialize and so on. But I'll speak in a little while to see if Winston is here. Not yet. I was hoping that he'll be here by now. Winston from Faizabad area. I was hoping he'll be here by now, so the media could get a shot of that. But let me say, in closing, because the campaign, while the campaign is on, there'll be a lot for us to say on many occasions and so on. And so I'm not going to say everything here this evening. But let me offer my own personal thanks and congratulations to these three brothers, one sister, Winston, who is on his way, not yet here, to Ronnie Adams, who was screened and approved for Egypt in the Point Fortin Oil Corporation. Ronnie's out of the country at the moment, but Ronnie actually fought elections for us in 2013 and again in 2016. And he said he's going again in 2019, sorry. And that demonstrates real commitment that he put in MSJ, and to the people of Point Fortin, and to Trinidad and Tobago. And as Brother Ernesto said, on Sunday we will identify the remaining candidates for the Sipari Regional Corporation as well as the Point Fortin Borough Corporation, and we may very well announce some from the Samoa Lavatil Regional Corporation as well as some from the Martin Regional Corporation, because we are engaged in this process. But let me say, in addition to thank you to the sisters and the brothers who have come forward, that they now are our collective standard bearers. They're the ones who are going to be out on the front line walking, but we cannot leave them by themselves. All of us now must rally behind them and give them the support that they need to walk the ground door by door, because that is how we are going to win these elections. Door by door, convincing everyone, one by one, showing them that the PLM has failed Trinidad and Tobago in so many ways, from Petrotrin to the unemployment, the economy, crime, health, education, so many ways the PLM has failed. That the UNC and Canada had her opportunity and she blew it. She had a tremendous opportunity and she blew it. And she too failed. And therefore, the only alternative, the only option, the only serious way forward for this country is the MSJ. And that is what these sisters and these brothers are going to be saying. And they need the support of all of us. So their campaign teams are going to be going out there in the hot sun, in the rain, walking door to door. And we need to give them support. And I want to congratulate them and thank them for having the courage of their convictions. Because when we believe, then we can convince the others to believe in this dream and this ideal of social justice for all in Trinidad and Tobago. So let us give again our candidates a tremendous round to get our candidates in the field. Right? So you now have the approval to go in the field and walk from tomorrow morning. Yes? I know some of you have already been doing it. I think some of you have already started. But you can do it now very officially and go out there in the field. Because we want to get you in the field as early as possible. Hence this activity, which is part social, part political, and part media. Which is why we're going to announce our candidates in batches to the media, so that through the media the country will know that these are officially our candidates and they can go out and represent the MSJ. I have great confidence in them. And a number of them, of course, I've known. And let me say this, let me make one other point. Significantly, I said they were all Petrotrin workers who were retrenched. They were all officers and members of the Oil Fields Workers Trade Union. And what is significant, what is happening, is that workers are recognizing that their only secure future is a future with the movement for social justice. Workers are realizing that. Yes? And that is reflected here. But we know that there are also people in their communities. Crystal is president of the Buenos Aires Village Council. Well, Stephen is very active in Faizabad, a member of the business community too, in the Faizabad area. Wayne Cyrus is very involved in sport and in football and so on. And Nigel Campbell is very well known in his community. Sorry, Brian Campbell, sorry, I keep mistaken. Brian Campbell is very well known in Labre for the work that he does in his community with young people and his community generally. So these are 4 excellent first-class standard bearers of the MSJ who would make excellent first-class councillors representing their electoral districts. And I commend all of them to you. Congratulations. Thank you very much, sisters and brothers. And we're going to enjoy the rest of the evening. There's some refreshments that you can have.